Okay, folks, as promised, I'm going to get us going because it's noon. I just want to thank you all for coming today. Welcome to the webinar. Today we're going to be talking about Baird Warner's new partnership to make realtor.com easier for our agents and for our office staff. And at the same time, talking about how it makes it easier for consumers to find our agents, find out about our agents, and so on. I am glad that you guys have joined us. I want to give you an idea of what we're going to do today. I usually like to start with the why. We're in the week 3 of our realtor.com webinars. So for those of you who are joining me on a repeat basis, you'll have heard this a little bit before. I'll give you a little foreshadowing. If you hadn't, it's part of a strong online presence. And if you've ever heard me talk before, you know I think that's a really important thing for you to have. Next, we're going to cover the what. In this particular case, we are focused all this week on reviews and recommendations. So I'm going to talk about how our partnership works and how it's going to help us upload now over 11,000 reviews, because you guys have been out there getting additional reviews. And then I'm going to talk to you about when. That part is pretty straightforward. So let's get started with the why. At the end of the day, the why is because everybody's online, right? And it's not just pretty girls in coffee shops. It's also, grandmas who might also happen to be in coffee shops or sitting around their living rooms. The reality is that the internet is in everybody's pocket. It's in everybody's purse. And when it comes time to sell your house, people turn to it as a resource, just like they do for their health care and for their entertainment and their celebrity gossip, right? It's right there. It's easy to find. The other thing that I always like to point out, you saw the stat on the last slide, consumers love reviews. They love reviews about everything. They've loved reviews since before the internet. That's where Zagat's came from. That's where the Michelin Guide came from, Kelley Blue Book, all of these things. So it's not like this is a brand new thing, but they absolutely love them online because they get to hear from other consumers and third-party trusted sites. They get to blend this all together with friends and family, and at the end of the day, they're looking at a half a dozen or more reviews and recommendations as part of their search process. So all this leads us to our new partnership with realtor.com. It's clearly the next thing we're doing. You guys have done a great job with Zillow. You guys have done a great job with Yelp. I know that there are a lot of people out there leveraging social media. And I get it. There's probably a few people out there who are saying, I thought nobody cared about realtor.com anymore. And I get that, but they still are relevant today. They may not be as big as Zillow. They may not be as sexy as Facebook, but there are 50 million reasons why they are relevant. In fact, they have over 53 million viewers, unique viewers every month. So Realtor.com's been in the industry longer than me, longer than probably quite a few of us on the webinar. It was founded in 1995, for those of you who are remembering. Do you remember what the internet was like back then? It was terrible and slow, right? It would have taken like 30 seconds for a house photo to load, never mind the high-resolution ones that we're going to have beamed to our pockets shortly. So I said it before, there may be fewer users on realtor.com, but there's still millions of them, and they really like it. They spend an average of 2 minutes longer, and that's an eternity on the internet. They visit nearly twice as many pages. Again, that's a huge stat for us, right? They're looking at, twice as many properties functionally or more photos because it shows that they like that. And then the final one is that according to NAR's profile of home buyers and sellers, they just ranked it number 1, flat out survey style against their competition. So it may not be the most popular, but millions of people are using it literally all the time and liking it. The other reason why I want to stand out is because people are looking at our listings on there, right? And so I also consider this part of the why now. Our average listing gets 312 views per month, right? That's a lot of people looking at those properties. Even if you're way on the low end of the average, it's still a couple hundred views a month for your listings. And they get more than 1,000 views while they're active. So we want to make sure that everything looks awesome on realtor.com and that those listing views translate into leads for our listing agents. And then the other reason why we're doing this is because it's a brand new partnership, and we're one of the first in our market to take advantage of it. So all this stuff about making your profiles look better, your recommendations look better, we're making that easier, right? You guys have seen the billboards. We're trying to do that, and it's a really huge opportunity for us to do it because we have hundreds of agents that have incomplete profiles, poor resolution pictures, and at the end of the day, I think it's incredibly important that we look great on realtor.com. So we're going to fix all of that. We're going to fix it easily. We're going to correct all those email addresses. We're going to upload all of your agent profiles from your agent branded website to realtor.com, and we're going to keep them up to date automatically. We're also going to upload high resolution photos for all of those listings so that every one of those 1,000 views is of the bold, bright photos that you can have on the internet. And what we're focused on today, we're going to upload 4- and 5-star testimonials from Testimonial Tree to realtor.com. So that's sort of what's going to happen. And I think that most of you guys know how Testimonial Tree works, right? This is a software that we put in place about a year ago, and that has collected over 6,000 testimonials for us since we put it in place. It's a management system, and so you guys know that we have this great tool already. I think one of the best ways to point it out is that it brings all those testimonials in, and it puts them on our agent branded page. It also allows you to send your testimonials all over to social media and to realtor.com, which is the feature we're going to be talking about today. But when I talk about testimonials going to recommendations, the ones that I am talking about are the same ones that show up on your agent branded webpage. So all those testimonials live in this giant database. We are up to, and I updated this last night at the end of the day, 11,688 testimonials with an average score of 4.99. We are well over 11,000, close to 11,500, and I hope between now and the end of the month, we might even be able to break 12,000 that we upload to realtor.com. But again, all these testimonials collected automatically at the end of your closing, or ones that you added or had in the past or have solicited from your past clients, they all live in this testimonial tree database, and that's what we're going to use to upload them to realtor.com. Now, realtor.com has two kinds of testimonials, if you will. They have ratings and reviews, and they have recommendations. I like to say ratings and reviews are kind of like Zillow and Yelp. You have to sign into your account. The consumer has to verify what property they use, and so on and so forth. So I want to focus on recommendations because those are equally important, but that's where Testimonial Tree can feed stuff into. So we're going to take those testimonials. Like I said, hopefully we'll get to 12,000. The more, the better for me. And we're going to feed all of those in on the last day of March. So every testimonial that you collect before the end of this month is going to be fed into the realtor.com recommendations section. Recommendation section can be fed a couple different ways. You can actually put your past reviews up there manually yourself. We're doing this big upload from Testimonial Tree, and in the future you can select any testimonial in Testimonial Tree that you want to send. We've made the decision for this big batch upload. It's everything over 4 and 5 stars because we can't imagine any reason why you wouldn't want your 4 and 5 star recommendations on realtor.com. So here's why. At the end of the day, the recommendations are hugely important. They are part of the search criteria that everybody uses. I'm going to swing my mouse over so I know it'll be kind of small on some of your screens, but notice that most recommendations is a way that consumers can sort for you, and they can set a minimum number of recommendations. As in, if this person doesn't have 5 or more recommendations, 5 or more past consumers will say how great they are. I'm not even interested in looking for them. And so about just a little under 30% of leads come off this the Find Realtors section. And interestingly enough, while you can do it by activity and ratings and recommendations, people like to search by recommendations and create filters around recommendations just as much as they do around around ratings. So right now, as a company, we have about 500 reviews up there. So we're going to go from having 500 across our 2,000 agents to having 11 or 12,000 across our 2,000 agents. I suspect we are going to overnight start showing up in more search results, whether they're filtered out because almost all of our agents have at least 10 recommendations, or because somebody searches as the most recommendations filter. In either case, we're taking care of that for you, if you will, by getting these all uploaded. Now, that being said, we can't necessarily make it perfect because the ratings and reviews part of this is just like Zillow and realtor.com and Yelp and those kinds of things. We have to go out and solicit reviews. So this is the part you've got to do. You don't have to do it. We're going to move your recommendations over no matter what. But for those of you who've got an interest in really taking advantage of this program and making yourself stand out on realtor.com, we got to go out and get some reviews. The same way we asked for reviews for Zillow, the same way we found our people in our sphere that were on Yelp. Let's go find some of those people in our sphere that were on realtor.com and ask them for a review. It's tricky to ask for a review, and that's why the bar isn't very high. Realtor.com believes that you got to go through their system, right? And you actually have to tell them which address. So notice they want to know for ratings and reviews exactly who went through this transaction. So one of the first things they ask you for is the MLS identification, which is optional, but the transaction date and the property address, because they ask the consumer when they reach out to them based on your transaction at 123 Main Street, etc. What would you tell us about working with this real estate agent? Then, after you've done that, you can put in your client email. You can tell them the who, right? And you can send a message. And I recommend you take a minute to customize your message to the client. It has a little generic one that'll fill in for you there. But if you're taking the time to request a review, let them know that this isn't an automated process. And then finally, you'll get a page like this that'll say that you've successfully committed the run, and you can request another review. It is a time-consuming process. I wish I could tell you otherwise, but I do think it's important to get a couple of those things, because just like there are minimum numbers of recommendations, in that very same way, people can search for a minimum number of ratings and reviews, or by a minimum star rating, right, to show that you have 5, like Amy, our little guinea pig, does here. So I'm almost done. I'm going to let you get back to lunch in just a little bit. I want to give you an idea of what this is all about. I want to remind you about everything we're doing, because today all I talked about was how we moved the testimonials over. You can find webinars just like this, 15, 20-minute ones talking about those top 2 subjects on my Facebook page at work or on the realtor.com start menu. So you can find everything out you need to know about getting your automatic agent profile updates going. And the same way about getting high resolution photos. I've got examples of what that means so you can understand how that's going to make your listings stand out. And so it's all about the testimonials today. It looks like we've got 1 or 2 questions coming in. Continue to shoot those in because I am almost done. I like to keep these short, sweet, let you get back to the actual business of selling properties. So here's what you got to do. I like to remind people, update your bairdwarner.com information, because we're taking the information from your agent branded website and using it to make your realtor.com profile, unless you have a fully updated realtor.com profile. And let me give you a hint. There's only like 280 some of you who signed in the last year to update your profile. So I think most of you don't have an up-to-date profile. So make sure your website is up-to-date, because that's the information we're going to use to make your Baird or your realtor.com profile. Use VHT. That's the big headline. If you don't use VHT, the high-resolution photo thing doesn't work for you. We're working with other photographers, but VHT is the first to come on. Then the 2 that come from today or get some more testimonials, man. I mean that. Get them on Testimonial Tree, because everything you get before the end of the month will be automatically uploaded to realtor.com. You don't even have to think about it. I started out these videos telling people that we had like 10,500 and I wanted to get to 11,000. We're at 11,688. Now I want to get to 12,000. There's still like a week left in the month. So please go out there and request a few. There is a great e-card setup that has your Testimonial Tree link. Now's the time to send it out. It's a great reminder for the spring market. Something about referrals, I'm never too busy for them, is a good way to close that email that asks for a testimonial, right? And then the last one, especially if you have clients, past clients who you know were realtor.com users, let's go out and get some reviews. You can catapult yourself to the top of the Find a Realtor in your local area just by getting to that 4 or 5 ratings and reviews section. So think about who your past clients are who might be engaged in the realtor.com platform, because they do have to sign in and create an account, et cetera, et cetera. So I really encourage you to do that. And then lastly, every week we've been covering a topic. You saw what those topics were. At the end, there are going to be live regional presentations. That's Glenbrook, Barrington, Naperville, and Lincoln Park. So please join me at one of them near you. I'm going to be videotaping everything, including those live presentations, and I just want to remind you of the topics again. But every week I've made a short video about the topic. We've had a lunch and learn like this, 15, 20 minutes to get back to it, and then an interview with a VIP. Last week we had the regional director for everything east of the Mississippi for training and communication for realtor.com, and I thought he was awesome. I really did. I'm like not tooting my own horn, and he's like a leather patch on the tweed jacket kind of guy, but he was full of good tips. If you missed that one, it was Laura Ellis before that, our president of sales. We're closing up next week with Steve Baird, but I have a very special guest this week, Ryan Avery. He is a New York Times best-selling author and a world champion Toastmaster speaker. Talks a lot about communication and storytelling, and you would think for a guy who is a public speaker by trade, he wouldn't love the internet, but he thinks it's a crucial part of storytelling. So tune in on Friday to hear that. I try and keep the interviews short, just like this one, to keep you going. So that's my story. I'm going to leave this up and give me just a tiny bit of time to be quiet to check out the questions. We only have a couple, and I like to just make sure that I get them all booked in. So it looks like we have a couple of questions about the difference between ratings and reviews. So I'm going to go back to one of my slides where I have them side by side. Here we go. Just to answer this question, and it looks like two of you asked this question in a slightly different way. One of you is asking the difference between testimonials and ratings, and one between testimonials and reviews. So they're all sort of the same thing, and all these companies call them something different, right? But testimonials, reviews, recommendations, ratings all fall into this category of consumer feedback, right? I think you know the broad category. But I want to talk a little bit about the difference, first on realtor.com, and then on the difference in the way that we talk about them at Baird Warner. And so ratings and reviews, the ones that are on the left-hand side of your screen, are those that are sent in to realtor.com through realtor.com's like portal for doing so by registered users on the realtor.com platform about a specific property. So if you look in there, you can see sold a home in Aurora, sold a home in Palos Heights, buyer of a home in Westchester, buyer or seller of a home in LaGrange underneath those. It's really small, but if you look at somebody's profile, you'll see those. That's because realtor.com works very, very hard to make sure that the ratings and reviews are about someone who had a real transaction with you operating as their agent. They understand the industry better than a Yelp or a Zillow or a Trulia, where somebody who's just working with you or just kind of likes you can leave a review, or kind of doesn't like you can leave a review. They really want a verified transaction transaction in the marketplace. Recommendations, on the other hand, are done on and treated on the honor system by realtor.com. They can be uploaded by a number of third parties, including Testimonial Tree, which is our third-party vendor for collecting reviews, recommendations, testimonials, whatever you call it. You can upload those through your own profile, so they are on the honor system. The consumer can flag them if they seem fraudulent, and they do have some role in preventing spam or from fraudulent use of recommendations. In addition to us being able to upload them, any consumer, whether they have actually had a transaction in the marketplace, can make a recommendation for you. So even if it's someone you're currently working with, they can just show up at the site and click that make a recommendation button. If they collect, write a review, they have to verify which house it was and that it was an actual transaction, and so on and so forth. And so then to clear up the testimonial tree part, we, because our vendor is called Testimonial Tree, often refer to reviews and or recommendations and ratings as testimonials. We have always done that. It's been true since long before I came here, when we used to collect testimonials by a paper survey that we sent out. So Baird Warner has just always called reviews or recommendations testimonials. And so we continue to. We also work with a partner, the vendor who provides the software that helps us collect and organize these reviews and make sure they get updated to your website. Is also called Testimonial Tree. So we use the testimonial term to cover reviews, recommendations, ratings, all of these things as sort of an umbrella term. So I hope that clears that up for everybody. I totally get that that is a confusing thing. I wish that we could settle on one thing to call it, but ultimately I think most people put them all in the same bucket, unless you're talking about a specific website like realtor.com that has rules defining the difference. Realtor is more specific than other places. Yelp and Zillow make no distinction between this concept of a verified transaction in the marketplace and otherwise not. Same with Google and Facebook and the social media sites that support reviews, testimonials, and or recommendations. So the last thing I got was I got a question about the deadline. That is the end of the month. So any review that Testimonial Tree receives, uploaded by you or by your client, will go over to realtor.com. Everyone 4 stars or above. And that does remind me, the way this question was worded, it sort of makes me wonder if you might be thinking about uploading client testimonials that you have, maybe in a spreadsheet or from a previous brokerage. Yes, you can use Testimonial Tree to upload those. If you get them uploaded before March 31st, they will be moved over to realtor.com. In the future, after this one-time upload to realtor.com, you will have to select the reviews or testimonials, whatever we're calling them that day, that you want to send over to realtor.com. It's easy. I have instructions for how to do that. You just click a box and click save and it goes over. But the bulk upload, the deadline will be March 31st. That is also the deadline for uploading your profile. Somebody asked that in the questions. Your profile has to be uploaded by March 31st, or that is the day that we will take all the changes. Now keep in mind, with your automatic profile upload, if you change the picture in the future, it will change the picture on realtor.com. So you don't really have to get that done by the 31st. The testimonials really have to be done, or else you'll be sort of on your own. We have instructions for you, but if you could imagine keeping track of 11 or 12,000 testimonials, make sure they all land in the right place. It's not something that we can do every day, at least until realtor.com builds that system. So those were the questions I got. I think we're all set. I'm going to click real quick through just to remind you that there have been other things that have gone on, and there are other things happening next week. I hope that you guys will continue to join us and tune in. I really appreciate the attention that you guys are paying to this, both the videos online and the webinars and interviews. So with that, I'll stay on here just in case there's somebody who forgot to hit send on their questions or whatnot. But I hereby release you guys back out into the world. Go help some people buy or sell real estate. That's really our first job in this market. Thanks for coming today, and I will talk to you again soon.